Welcome back, everyone.
We got another episode of the Not So Perfect Podcast with Matt Shin here, as always, with
Gerardo Cornejo.
Mr. Gerardo Cornejo.
Carne asada is back. Matt, good to see you. It's been a busy week.
Yeah, happy Easter.
Yeah, happy Easter.
Still got some good color from that trip.
Yeah,
brother.
I've been trying to get as much vitamin D as possible.
Well,
Tis
the
the
weather
season.
has been favorable lately, so hopefully everybody is.
It's every morning. It's like, is it going to be heat or cool? Heat or cool?
Well, luckily we've had the sun out, so regardless of the temperature, you can still go out
True.
and get your vitamin D. Because guess
True.
what? We're not snowflakes, and if it's chilly, we'll be fine.
Yeah, good times ahead.
We'll be
And
fine.
yeah, we took last week off. I mean, it was, well, not off, but
It was a very busy week on my end. I don't know about your end, but yeah, just with the holiday coming up and everything, yeah, we took last week off. But happy to be back.
yeah.
And what do we got? What do you got lined up for us?
Well,
You got us a good
today,
one?
since we
Gerardo,
had
by the
time
way,
to
is-
think,
Gerardo's driving this bus today. I'm just riding shotgun.
yeah, we're going to get two sides, two angles of what men don't talk about. I think we should go there. It's a good topic, and I've been kind of having these conversations with my guy friends. Let's go there. Where you at? What's going on? And I think we could bring a perspective from my angle, a perspective from your angle.
So before we kick this thing off, I did have a crazy coincidence happen on Friday
Okay.
last week. So I feel like this might be a good setting
This
off
is
point
the-
for what
let's
you
set it
have
off.
lined up for us.
Let's set it up.
And this was not planned, so this is all 100% organic. So I was training some clients on Friday last week, which for all of those that don't know, last Friday was Good Friday, part of our Easter celebration that we do. So my dad joke for the day was, guys, don't forget, it's Good Friday. Once this workout is complete, it's going to be a great Friday. So that was my dad joke for the weekend, or for Good Friday. So anyways, I was telling that to all my clients all Friday morning. My last morning appointment told me, you know what's crazy is a couple years ago, I didn't really ever think about this, but apparently Jesus died, they say, around 3 o'clock on Friday, and that kind of kicks off the Easter weekend
Okay.
in terms of like the 3 days till he resurrected and all that stuff. So I said, oh yeah? I said, well, what do you think about that? She said, well, I didn't really think much of it until 3 o'clock on that Friday came around, and it was beautiful all day long. And 3 o'clock, the storm starts coming in. These clouds start coming in. The next thing you know, we've got thunder, we got lightning, and we got this like 30-minute downpour. And then sky parts, sun comes out. So she's like, so keep an eye out for if anything happens to you on Friday around 3 o'clock. So I said, okay. So anyways, we get done, we go on with our day. Next appointment is at 3 o'clock that I have here. So I'm getting stuff set up, and I didn't really see her when she walked in at 3. But I was asking her while I was setting stuff up, I said, how we doing? And I could tell just from her tone, not good. So then I kind of get up and look around, and I could just see it on her face like something's up. So I closed the door, give her some privacy. I said, hey, what's going on? I was like, don't act like nothing's going on, because I'm not that.
Oh, it's obvious.
It's obvious. And she said, she told me this story about someone she works with. Their husband was attempting to take his life. Didn't want his family to see him, so made some arrangements, called the correct and proper authorities, I guess, if you were going to do that. So anyway, she's telling me this whole story, and like as she's telling me this story, like I look over at the clock, and it goes from 2:59 to 3 o'clock, and I'm like, I didn't say anything about it to her just because I was like, wow. Okay, maybe there's nothing. Maybe it's just a coincidence. About 5 minutes later, you know, whenever it rains, I can hear that rain hitting that chimney there. Tink, 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 tink. Oh. And so then we had a little bit of a storm for about 20 minutes. And like when we were done, pull the garage door open, sun's back out.
Oh,
And it's
bad.
like- so I told her, so anyways, whatever we were first starting with on the bag or on the board for the workout that day, I was like, it wasn't something that was going to help the situation she was in, because she was very physically and just mentally upset about the situation. So I said, you know what? Let's erase that first thing on here. We don't need to do speed skaters. How about we do our first thing is heavy bag? Like, let's hit something and we can really talk about it, you know? And boy, she was just getting after it and just.
Oh, man.
But after we went through like about 30 minutes in, you could tell her mood completely switched from where she came into until what she was after we kind of got that initial just out of you, physically, mentally, emotionally. Just she needed to just get all that out. So if we don't have those systems set up for if we get bad news or if we get something that catches us off guard or something like that, if you don't have good things set in place for how you handle yourself whenever those moments hit, I strongly recommend you do. Because if all you do is just hang on to that stuff and you do not have that outlet to release, you're going to have problems because you're just stacking all that stuff, and eventually you're going to get to a point where the straw that broke the camel's back and everything's going to come falling down. So before it gets to that point, have proactive measures to put in place before. Exercise, eating healthy, moving your body, getting sunlight.
Punching bag.
Having the people that you talk to when things are tough. Like whatever it is you need to do, strongly recommend if you don't have those things in place, or maybe you haven't thought of it in that aspect before. Strongly recommend you do that because it definitely helps.
That's the podcast. That's the message. Brilliant, Matt.
Happy Easter,
Thank you very much. Wow. And let me triple check because we're not perfect. Yes,
we're
we
not.
are recording because that was too good. Okay. I had just got done cutting grass, and like you said, the clouds moved in, and I love cutting my grass right before the
We can't see
rain.
what's happening outside. So I didn't know if it was sunny.
Oh, yeah.
So I just heard
ting,
that,
ting,
and I'm
ting.
like,
3
this
o'clock
really
on Good
happening
Friday.
right
I'll
now?
never forget that now.
yeah, yep.
But that definitely pushes us into this. My wife, I just texted her. I was like, hey, is your friend still at the house? She was like, she's left. She needed a good cry. She was able to get it out. She feels so much better now.
Yeah.
So here is everybody.
So
needs
Stacy
it.
was having a friend that needed to talk to somebody.
Yeah, she had a friend that needed to talk to somebody. She's just had a complete surgery, and there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
And she was able to, again, like Matt said, she has Stacy. They're in a room. It's just them.
You
Let it all out.
You can let it all out.
Yep. And Stacy, we do that. We used to do it monthly. It seems like it's a conversation we have weekly. Her boohoo day, her crying day, whatever we want to call it. All the stuff we carry, but it's just so tough carrying it all the time.
Yep.
And that's why it's just, especially now we don't even know what to think. We don't even know what to think. And I think like 99% of us we're not structured in our really all into our habits and our principles because we're so distracted.
Yep.
Phones.
A lot of distractions.
A lot of
What's going on in the
distractions.
world, what's going on in the
You're not
country.
really hanging out with the people you need to be hanging out. I mean, it's just life. It's just life in general. So, what you said, and yes, this is Matt has created a space for people to just not just get fitter or work on themselves, but work on yourselves all around.
Yeah, I tell everybody when we
Mentally,
start, we're working
physically.
physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally. Like these are all things. If any of those are out of whack, you're going to have deficiencies in your life in some aspect. So again, it's one of those things that a lot of people don't think that introspectively about why they do things or why they react to things, whether it be good news or bad news, or why they resort to this anytime things get hard or whatever it might be. So take 5, 10, 30 minutes and just do some inward thinking. If you're having trouble getting that out or trying to compromise what's going on in your head into like a linear form, get a notebook out and just start writing. Right now I'm feeling effed up and I woke up late and I was behind from the moment I woke up because I slept in, I hit snooze or whatever it is. Just get that stuff out on paper. It sounds ridiculous that it wouldn't be that helpful or effective. I'm here to tell you that it's a lot more effective than I ever gave it credit for.
And it says right here, silent pressure.
Yeah.
The silent pressure we got going on. The worst virus is a thought is what
The thought virus.
the thought virus is what Peter Cronin said, and I've said it before on here. It really is.
Yeah.
One simple thought can just destroy 24 hours, 24 months.
Dude, I used to live it every day.
And 24, years, decades almost.
Yeah, I tell people all the time, like, just imagine having, I don't know, it's what I would consider to be like a migraine, It's miserable. There's nothing pleasant about it. It sucks. You never know when it's coming or going. But yeah, when those thoughts are just on repeat all day long, it's either like negative self-talk about yourself, and then eventually that leads you to the point where like, well, maybe drinking something after we get off work isn't such a bad idea. Or maybe that is the reason why we should. It'll help persuade you into doing shit that you wouldn't normally do, But just kind of go back and touch base. So like Stacy had her friend that was needing to reach out. You and Stacy have your thing. Maybe you're alone in this world. Maybe you don't have family. Maybe you don't have anybody really close to you. One thing that you were talking about with that was what was it? The silent
pressure.
Silent pressure. Whenever I first got sober, like we're talking the early days of sobriety, like my silent pressure was with having a conversation with God. So regardless of whether you have somebody or don't have somebody, or someone that's not here in town or lives where they're not physically capable to be there for you, there's a reason why I have the Serenity Prayer tattooed on my chest. So every time I look in the mirror, I never forget, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. Okay? I can't move that wall right there with my hands. Okay? I'm going to need help. I'm going to need a lot of people. It's going to need approval, blah, 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 blah. Okay? So God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. Those are things I have no control over. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. The courage to change the things I can, because that's hard, that's scary. We're going somewhere new. We're trying to do something different. We're changing our old ways. So God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the most important part, the wisdom to know the difference. So, something to think about. That was the prayer that I was telling myself every day after I got sober, after I got to rehab, got out of rehab, got into AA, and then from AA getting into the treatment court program. I never wanted to forget, because the moment I finally surrendered to God in jail, He took all those things I've been trying to hold on to and control, that I have no business controlling, or I have no physical, emotional, mental, spiritual reason to hold on to. He took those off of me. And I can't explain this into words, but it was like the biggest spiritual cleansing of my life, in terms of just, if I was covered in mud head to toe, it's like God took a comb and just combed all that mud out in one swoop, and my life changed forever. And in that moment, I haven't had a thought about alcohol, a sensation to want to drink alcohol. And coming from somebody that's all I thought about for as long as I could think of before that point, that says something. So if you're feeling like you're alone in this world, whether you have someone physically here or not, God's always listening. His door is always open. His phone is always
And
ringing.
that prayer was there the whole time. You finally read it. You finally got it. You finally heard it.
I finally saw it for the first time.
Finally saw it for the first time.
I hadn't seen it before.
Is there a category where, like, which prayer is that?
The Serenity Prayer.
Serenity prayer.
And it's longer than that, but that's the AA gist of it that they put in the big
We
book.
will include that one in the description. Serenity prayer.
Yep.
That is huge. But so trying to keep me organized on here, because I will be all over the place. But some of the silent pressure and it was going to be about what men don't talk about, but this is just human beings. Now I think we were going to do our podcast, of course, directed towards men, but it's everybody now. It's human beings. We need all of us. We need all of us at this point. But some of the silent pressure that I would feel is the financial pressure. Even when things look good, there's still, when is it enough? It's not enough. I had the boat, but that's not as cool as that boat. I have the house, but it's not as cool as that house. Fear of failure or falling behind. On some of my coaching calls, I have agents say, hey, I want to make this amount. It's like, hey, you're already 4 months behind. You haven't made that. You have made zero.
Right.
And you're 4 months behind. That's pressure. Self-worth tied to performance. You're not seeing results in the gym. The habits and what goes, not just what you do in the gym, it's what happens outside the gym, what happens in the kitchen. But even successful men feel one bad move away from losing it all. That's one scary thought that when we get in masterminds, it's like one bad move, one day of not showing up to work, one day of missing a meeting instead of going to your kid's ball game or practice or hanging out with your children. You really think you're going to lose it all. And that's why I talked about that vacation, and if we could just be present for our loved ones daily, hourly, as much as we are here or there, whatever it is you're doing. Oh my God, humans would just be better.
Yeah. Well, I think just going off a couple of these things you were mentioning, one big thing that I've, because I'm guilty of all these things, is financial pressure, the fear of failing or falling behind, self-worth tied to performance. Even successful men feel one bad move away from losing it all. So one thing I've kind of found just through my journey and just kind of rebuilding my life is, before I got sober, I was chasing all those things. The next car, the nice house, whatever it is. I was trying to chase all of those things that I didn't need, I thought I needed, thought I wanted. Okay. And now that I've kind of gotten a second chance at life and a different kind of lens to look at life through, one of more positivity and just trying to be a better person, as opposed to just climb the next ladder of the, not corporate structure, but just the ladder of life. Trying to climb up and over people by doing whatever you need to do it, is really just being content with, first thing I had to teach myself was how to be comfortable being by myself, being alone with those thoughts, being alone with those, I don't have that person to lean on to. So it took a lot of time, but I would suggest that everybody try and take time out of their day to just have 5 minutes, even if it's 60 seconds. If you're constantly on the go, 60 seconds of getting home from work, taking your dog for a walk, and you always put your headphones in and put on your favorite podcast, your favorite playlist, or whatever it is. That one time you don't go on that one time you go on that 10-minute walk, enjoy nature, enjoy the outside. See your neighbor outside, ask them how they're doing, wave at them. If you don't have a conversation with them, but if you're tuned in to everything else that's going on and we're just head down and moving forward, we're not enjoying what we got around us. And this is our community, this is our city, our town, everybody that we deal with on a regular basis. 90% of these people, 95% of these people are people inside our community, So being okay with being alone, being okay and not being uncomfortable with needing to be, having that dad figure next to you where you're getting nervous and you need someone close to you. So that's taught me a lot. That's taught a lot about me about just how to be okay with being alone.
And we spend 90%, almost half of the day alone.
Yeah.
At least half of the day alone if you're not, depending what you're doing, if you're not at work or whatever.
Yeah.
Alone in our thoughts is just 5 minutes is a miracle sometimes. It's just
and it's uncomfortable.
Being alone
you have
and breathing.
to do that self-inflection, because there's things in there that you're probably not proud of. There's things in there that you are proud of, but you need to come to terms with all that stuff. Otherwise, again, like that boiling pot, it's going to eventually spill over if you don't.
And I think it's about finding peace within yourself. Like peace is not it could be peaceful being in a giant group, but peace within yourself is just like
it's a different kind
freedom.
It's a different kind of serenity and peace and gratitude that I never thought I would be saying in front of anybody.
My outlet, like what you do for your 10 minutes, is driving. Yesterday I had to go show houses in Boonville, and I drove back from 87 to 179, and we used to just run around those roads when we'd go partying in Jamestown or run to Jamestown, and it's just seeing those roads again, but not being off my phone and just looking at the land, looking at the farms, the cows.
Feeling the wind in your hair, feeling the
wind
blowing
down,
in your face,
fresh air, the cow manure, the fresh cut grass. It's something that Stacy would say when I first met her, she's like, fresh cut grass. Oh, manure. Like, I was like, this country girl is just wild.
Got us a city slicker over here.
But now I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. That's how she grew up, and it is just so beautiful. A friend of ours just went to Colorado, and she's like, man, I got in there, and there was no trees. Like, you would just see land, or like empty land, no trees, and then subdivisions. Empty land, subdivisions. And driving around here in the Midwest, like, there's just an abundant amount of trees.
Yeah.
And it's just beautiful. I love driving through all these curvy roads, back end roads.
Yeah.
And that's kind of I'm in my car, I'm in a little car, and it's just, whew,
yeah. Well, funny story about 179 and 87. So that was the route we took whenever I was going to Boonville to get sober. And it was in the middle of like June 20, or what it was, 18th of June, I think, so whenever we went. And, that time of year, there's flooding. Well, we were taking our way there, and I obviously wasn't driving, so my dad was. And we got to this road that was covered with water. I was like, well, I guess we better turn around. I guess we better figure out another plan. We can't get to rehab right away, so if we can go all the way back to Jeff and, take the long way, got to do what we got to do. He's like, we'll take double H to quadruple U to 13 to 7 to 9. Bop, bop, bop. Here we are. We're back on track. It's like, okay.
Dad just keep hammering. He just kept hammering.
It was worth a try. It was worth a try because I was not ready and scared shitless and not sure what I was getting myself into. Again, one of the best decisions.
God
I've made
send
in
you
my
some
life.
signals to send you the signs.
Like I said, if you knew all of the shit that's like been dropped in front of me, like in this whole process, like you can't not assume that God's involved. There's too many coincidences, too many. It's just not possible.
And we discuss it all the time. I hear parents like, "Oh, we're trying for kids. We're trying for kids." People have a hard time with that. You know, we've realized like it's not in our hands.
Yeah.
We're not in charge. When it happens, it just someone. God decides when it is, what it is,
Right.
how it's gonna go.
Yeah.
A lot of people are trying to manipulate that and control that. They've had 3 girls. They want a boy now. You know, and you're putting your wife through hell trying to do this because
Yeah.
you want a boy. But again, that's just an ego thing at that point, I think.
Well, it's just a conversation that needs to be had amongst.
And
the
it's a
husband and the
conversation.
wife,
Yeah, you're
you know?
killing
I
your
mean, that's-
wife. Like, are
if
you
guys
okay with
are- if
her
you guys
doing
are in
that?
agreement with that, that's one thing. But if it's a
Yeah.
90-10 argument, you
Yeah,
know,
it's just weird seeing that. But we're not in charge.
no.
Just be good, be kind, love life.
Well, to even take that back a step, like for me, like, and part of the reason why I mentioned like being okay being alone, like, yes, I have aspirations to get married, to have kids, and you know, to live the American dream. But my path took a different route. I've had to go a different path than most. You know, but I'm okay with where I'm at today. You know, if God, and I have all my faith in God. So if He wants to put someone in my life that would be a good partner or a good spouse, I'm all up for it. But the difference between now and before I got sober was I wasn't curtailing it to what I was looking for in a mate, in a partner, in a spouse. You know, I was looking at it as more of a trophy type thing, which, you know, good off on you if you want, but look where it it didn't lead me anywhere good is my point of that. So by going the wrong path, my life took a different route, you know, and I still want these things and I still aim to try and strive towards them, but I'm not, you know, taking the first opportunity or the first thing that comes my way, because I know what I'm looking for now. So I can delineate what I'm, you know, this person does not, this person does. Like, I know what I'm looking for. So when you're shopping and you know what you're going there to shop for, you're in and out pretty quick.
Yep.
You know, you grab it, you pay for it, and you're out the door. Before, I'm grabbing one of everything. You know what I mean? Like, which one of these do you want? Like,
Let's go check the clearance
yeah,
aisle.
we'll figure it out. We got at least a nice variety here. But anyways, my point of all that is I would love to have all those things happen, but I'm not mad or I'm not angry with God or just with my life or how it turned out, because I used to live my life that way and it just kept sending me down the wrong path. So I stopped asking God why, and I just follow His lead, you know? And like I said, there's been so many little things sprinkled in my life that's like, okay, I guess He's listening, because I get these little signs all the time, you know? And it's usually something to either let me know I'm not on the right path or
Yeah.
you're on the right path.
Just do the next right thing.
But again, if you're too busy listening to all the outside noise, you don't hear those you don't get to hear those little inner voices, you know? So that's why I tell people, like, take that time to have 5 minutes to yourself or 10 minutes to yourself and just thank God for another day. Thank God for the end of the day when you're, you know, waking up hopefully to do it again the next day. You know, and then everything in between. God, whatever happened today that I'm not in control of, I ask that you please take these off my shoulders. You know, go to sleep, probably get a better night's sleep. And if you didn't do that, not saying it's science or it's proven, but I bet it would if you looked at the data. You know, so just something to think about, you know. If you're not where you're at right now, or you're not where you think you should be right now, ask God for help. You know, if you haven't done that, that would be the easiest and first place I would always start. Because as much as you love your wife, if without God, you wouldn't have met your wife. Without God, you wouldn't have your kids. Without God, we wouldn't be here right now.
It's a miracle. My
You
life's
know?
a miracle.
So I just don't want people to overlook the power of that higher power.
We're all miracles, man.
Yeah.
Speaking of those thoughts, have you ever thought about this? You don't want to be a burden to your family.
100%.
No real outlet to talk honestly. Surface level friendships. Who do you talk to when you're the strong one? That's a cool room I've been in where the egos are just left outside the door. I mean, that's AA, right?
Yeah.
That's those rooms. Different angles, but it's the same concept.
Same principle, yeah.
Same principle. Leave it at the door. Vulnerability, honesty. It has helped.
It does. And it will continue to help as long as everybody remembers to check their egos at the door. Ego for me was one of my biggest downfalls. Thinking I had it figured out, thinking I knew everything, thinking I had it all worked out. The longer I kept believing my own lies and my own bullshit, again, the further down the wrong path I went. So, what was the first thing on there? Don't want to be a burden. Yeah.
Burden to the family. The emotional isolation of it all.
Whenever I hit, not even when I hit rock bottom, probably that last year of me drinking, like I was so isolated, I didn't go anywhere. I didn't want to be around anybody. I didn't want to see anybody. I just wanted to, and I was never a drink alone by yourself kind of a person. That last year and a half, 2 years, that's all I was doing. All I was doing. And, so that's why just that continued alcohol abuse, continually letting myself down, getting fired from a job that I really wanted for a long time, did it for 10 years to try and get that opportunity, then got it, then pissed it away by getting another DWI. I was just basically just a walking head of shame, is what it felt like. So in order to get through all that stuff, I had to, I just had to keep failing until I hit bottom. You would think after that third DWI and losing your dream job that should be enough, right? Nope. So it's different with everybody. It just, whatever it is that triggers you, hits you at the right time or the right moment or whenever it is that you're supposed to hit rock bottom. So that was an important thing to kind of to process and just try and try and overcome. And in that, I've had so many what I call ego deaths, which is like the old me is gone. That version of me, unzip that skin suit, put it on a hanger, put it in the closet, that one's behind us. And every time I've had that ego death, it's always been about, you're not that important. In this grand scheme of things, like me being upset about something so minute or so ridiculous and like it composing all of my day and my brain power and all that, what are you doing? There's so many good things in this world and you're stuck on this little pinpoint of the entire day of one negative thing that's happened to you. Well, in the meantime, you've had, you can count all the blessings on two hands. So the ego deaths are something I strongly encourage. If you've got a bad habit or just a bad trait that you're carrying around and you keep going back to it. Yeah, and you keep going back to it, that ego needs to die. And there's a reason why you keep circling back. Maybe go 2 weeks where you don't see them. So.
And it's just freedom. It's peace and freedom. I think that's the two words I keep going back to of why we do all these things, why we work on ourselves, why we have these conversations.
Personal and internal freedom.
Yeah. And which one comes first, freedom or peace? And you can't have one without the other. Is the one I'm trying to figure out. Because if I'm at peace, then I have freedom. But if I have freedom, then I am at peace. Mm-hmm. And that's just the little circle that I try to live within daily.
Yeah.
Because better than yesterday, like you said, that the ego death every day. Be better than that person was yesterday. You had those thoughts yesterday. Be better than that person yesterday. Go do the next right thing today.
Yeah. Well, if you say you failed yesterday, okay? So let's say you had a big meeting or something at work, or you're supposed to be picking the kids up from soccer practice at this time. Let's say you forgot, you got busy, you got overtired, carwood and stuff, whatever it is. Doesn't matter what it is, okay? The reason is, in your opinion, you felt like you failed that day because you let your kids down, you let your wife down, you let work down, whatever it is. That's okay, because when you go to sleep, you're unzipping that skin suit, and when you wake up tomorrow, you got a chance to do even better. So if you're not waking up that next day still thinking about what you did yesterday, this is the chance to do all over and better. But that's up to you. That's up to your prerogative. That's up to your outlook on how you're looking at your life, or you're looking at the opportunity of the day ahead of you.
And I just had this thought of who do you talk to when you think you're the strong one? You're not the strong one. Like you're not that strong. We just have an email going on because we're preparing for Chris Wood's Cappy Classic. Yeah, our Memorial Day for Chris Wood. And we were taking, I haven't read the letters, but they said the letters have started coming in for the scholarship contestants, I guess we'll call them, the scholarship recipients. Mm-hmm. And we're getting letters of kids that have experienced suicide. And one of our board members is like, I can't finish reading these. Mm-hmm. Like, guys, this is so sad that these kids are going through this and they're stronger than we'll ever be, to get through all these moments as kids. So if you think you're really the strong one, I used to think that way, like, no, nobody knows what I'm going through. I'm the strong one. I'm the one putting in the hours. No, there's somebody that's had it worse, that's done more, that's hit way lower than you. and had to bounce back, you don't have it that bad. You might think you have it bad, but you don't have it that bad.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Yeah. That's pretty good. I think. Yeah. I think with that, probably the big thing. Yeah. Anytime I think that I know best, or that I'm the strong one, or that I'm in charge, again, God usually puts something in my life that lets me know instantly that I am not. So
God's like, where's that 2x4 at?
yeah, like, where's that golf ball drop from heaven laying right on his head there? But the thing is, I recognize those moments when they hit now. Where before I'm like, oh, okay, so just because is this because you still hate me, God? Is this because, and it was a nasty conversation and relationship I had with God before I got, my life together. So now I pay attention and I'm listening, and I'm like, man, how many of these signs did I miss before that I was just walking right by every single day, or, whatever it was. But the other point is, like, what you just said, like, there's a lot to learn from just what your last sentence there was, where these ladies couldn't continue reading these letters because of all the stuff that these kids have been through with, a suicide or someone passing their family. You can get strength from anybody. It doesn't have to be somebody older than you. It doesn't have to be somebody more established than you. You can get strength from an 8-year-old kid that wrote this letter that you've never seen or met before. But knowing what he's been through, and if this kid can do this, why can't we? Why can't we be better? But a lot of that goes right back to, well, but they don't have, they don't have a mortgage, and they don't have 3 kids, and they wouldn't understand what it's like to work a job. And you know what? You're probably right. These kids have probably been through worse because they don't have a dad or a mom or an uncle or whatever the situation is.
A roof above their heads.
So again, that's that ego jumping in there where it has no business being involved. So if you're reading these letters and you're thinking, boy, this is terrible, maybe that kid that's writing that letter isn't wanting a sympathy, feel good story from you. They're wanting you to lift them up along with themselves, So a lot of these people, whenever they're reading stuff, they'll read it, it'll hit them for a second, but then they relate it to what they're doing at this exact moment and how crazy their life is, and they can justify, well, it's, I'm sure it's not as bad as they don't have a mortgage, they don't have to work 40 hours a week, and, this and that. It's like, how would you be doing if you lost one of your parents at age 8, at age 10, at age 13, when you're going through a hard time in your life and you need that person? Like, we can all relate to people that are in suffering, because we've all been in a state of suffering before, So, I don't know.
What was the sentence you said you can learn from anybody? You said something like that. I wish I had a pen. I would have wrote it down.
So just thinking who you can learn, like thinking that, well, I can only get better and I can only learn from people that are older than me, more wiser than me, more established than me. And then just what you were saying, you're reading letters from 8 to 15, 16-year-old kids and bringing you to tears, where that could move somebody more than you talking to your mentor for the 25 minutes you guys do on coffee on every Tuesday morning at 7 o'clock. You know what I mean? So again, I'm not discrediting your mentor or anything like that, but there's other things throughout the day that can lift you up higher than any mentor, that any weekly check-in, like, Peter Crone book. Sometimes if you know a personal experience, and again, right here in our community, these are people that we interact with on a daily basis that are going to our public schools or our private schools. They could be going to school with your kid. I don't know.
I have a friend that just recently joined the mortgage industry world, real estate industry world. He's been going to a lot of conferences and a lot of things they've set up, different state. He was blown away by the amount of female business owners that he is being inspired by. He's like, bro, like, these women, like, they're badasses. It's like, yeah, dude, it's not just men, businessmen that run the world. We know that women run the world. They're the superheroes.
They are.
They created all of us.
The reason why we're here.
Yeah. Shout out to moms, women, sisters, females everywhere worldwide. But it was, you never know who you're going to learn from, or I think that's what you say. You never know who's going to push you that or make you realize that, or hit, who's going to hit.
Yeah.
So he's been beyond impressed with what the grit and what these women go through, and to stay in the business world, because you don't think of business and think, oh, women. Unfortunately, that's just...
It's not how we were brought up.
Yeah, that's not what...
At the time of us growing up, that was kind of a taboo almost. But no, just quick shout out to another one that's been that's had a very hard life that could use that as a pity party or a poopy pants mentality, or just not being as good of a person as he is Zion Nollmeyer. Excuse me. Heavyweight wrestler from Helias. He's a national champion as of this past weekend. He's only a junior, so he's got a big future ahead. He's probably going to be doing some football and some wrestling post high school, if I had to guess. But on top of being a great wrestler, he's an even better kid, a better person. And he has the background, if you read it, you probably wouldn't think he would be, because why would he be if that was the hand he was dealt? So shout out Zion, congratulations, buddy, on the national championship. But in the grand scheme of things, keep being that great person, because that's what will carry your message on even more than your wrestling accolades.
You were already a champion before you were a champion, sounds like.
Yep.
Cool. Let's see what else I got on here. Identity beyond work. If I'm not producing, who am I? Setbacks hit deeper than expected. Losing connection to purpose. You built a life, but did you build yourself? We don't do it alone is something I've learned in the last 19 years. You think you want to take the credit, but we're going back to ego then. And I have been around those business men that it's hey, you're here because of me. You're doing this because of me. I actually was in a relationship where the person said, don't bite the hand that feeds you. And I was like, whoa, what just came out of your mouth? Like, I'm over here working 2 jobs and still in college, broke. Okay, back to knowing at the time, this ain't gonna work out. Yeah. God, thank you for sending that sign. This was not what I was dreaming of, or this is not my dream.
Yeah.
And I've had a hard time too, kind of like with identity and where to go. I think to kind of backtrack, things we don't talk about is like I have crushed every one of my dreams that I dreamed of in the last 20, 25 years of what I wanted to be, from a college student to in the business world. Mm-hmm. To me, I don't feel like I've even started yet. I'm not there yet. But from having conversations where like, gee, you've got it made. Like, I was like, dude, I don't. I'm still in the trenches. Like, I'm not even there yet. And they're like, what are you talking about? Like, you've got it made. A loyal wife, a woman that absolutely loves you. Your kids, your mom and your sister, you're still close. You have it all made. Like, not just the material things, but they're like, dude, you have it made. And I was like, but I'm not a millionaire. But then it's the ego, like I don't have a bigger boat that people like to go out on. Like, what I realized about the boating industry, you just got to be on the water. If you even care to be on the water, it's a really dirty lake, But just be on the water. It's all about the people you're with, and then some of the wealthiest people I know at the lake, they're in a 25-foot pontoon, but they got their whole family there, and the kids are there, and the floaties are there. They're sitting on a noodle. There's not a $2 million yacht with a chef on board. It's not about that.
Yep.
But it did help recently, looking outside in, to be like, oh man, like, okay, so where do I go from here? So doing that research is like, okay, I'm in my 40s now, just really focus on the things I'm good at.
Yeah. So
then it's having that conversation. What am I good at? And having my close board of Gerardo members, telling me that has really helped my peace and freedom of just show up every day now with just doing the really good things I'm good at.
Yeah. No, the identity thing, that's a big one, that last one you read, you built the life, but did you build yourself? And that reminded me, as soon as you read that off, that reminds me of the House of Cards. What's your life built on? How's your foundation? Because if that foundation's not great and you build a 98-story skyscraper, one strong wind, it's going to come tumbling down. So that's where I basically had to do. I had to kind of rebuild my life from the foundation up. I had to re-pour those foundations, then put the next layer on and the next layer on, and doing that just helped me figure out who I am, and I'm not tied to Matt the wrestler or Matt the MMA fighter or Matt the restaurateur or Matt the, whatever it is. Like, yes, this is what I do for a living and I love it. Doesn't feel like work because I'm helping people do better in a lot of aspects of their life. You know, and just like us doing this podcast, like I feel better. I've never felt worse getting done with us shooting a podcast, except for maybe when he forgets to empty his recycle bin.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like it's like going to an AA meeting. Even if I'm tired and I don't want to go and I've had a long ass day, I've been up since 4 a.m. and it's an 8 o'clock meeting that night. Like, yes, I might drag my feet and kick and, you know, bitch and moan about getting there. I've never left being like, should have stayed at home. Should have stayed at home. Never once. And that's how I look at my life. You know, that's how I look at my work. I'm not my work. My work is not me. Work is a part of what I am, you know? And this, you know, like I said, I don't call it work because I don't feel like it is. It's a passion of mine. I love what I do. I get excited to come into work every day to do it. You know, because I can see progress in myself and others along the way, you know? So
And your foundation, man, like, yes, you've been building it for 40 years now, but in the last 5 years, I think you've put up the strongest cards at the bottom of your house of cards.
Well, I'll even go one step further. I had to self-implode that bitch.
Yeah.
I had to clean out the rubble, re-pour those foundations, because the ones I poured, you know, I didn't fucking know what I was pouring back whenever I was 18, 19, 20, 25, 30, like nothing like what I know now, you know? So again, if I could go back and do it, I would do it all over again, because I don't think I'd be where I'm at now if I didn't go through all that stuff beforehand.
And it's never too late. I mean, one of your clients, it's awesome seeing them that here they are later in their life, they're rebuilding again.
Yeah, they're lighter than they've ever been. And some of them are in their 60s, some of them are in their 50s, some of them are in their 70s. You know, it's, hey, if you show up, I'll get you whatever you want, but you got to show up. You know, you got to hold yourself accountable and be here for the work.
Like that would be a blessing for you to tell me, like, hey, 10 years from now, you're going to feel the best you've ever felt, the freest you've ever felt, the most helpful you've ever been.
And what would you say if I told you it's not going to take 1 4-hour workout every week?
No.
But it's going to take 7 20-minute workouts.
Do you want my ego to answer that? Because like I don't have that much time.
Well, that's my point. I'm not asking you that. I'm saying, but in return, could you do 20 minutes 7 days a week? Because that's where you get the long-term success. You know, it's not that, well, on Wednesdays we do our 4-hour workout and then I don't have to do shit the rest of the week.
Let me ask you this. How do you, and because I bring this up in the business world, or the industry that I'm focused on daily, how do you figure out what you want, what you really, really want?
Well, first thing I ask people, like, if say we haven't met before and I'm meeting you, I said, what do you do for a living? It's actually, I do real estate. Okay, right on. Do you love what you do?
Yes.
Okay. Now, if someone's like, now why do you feel that way? Why don't you love what you're doing? You know, you're going to be spending 8 hours a day doing this. Why aren't you doing something you like?
It's just comfortable.
You know, why aren't you doing something you love? You know, well, you know,
I'm not allowed
it's not really an industry for me to do like, make your own industry. You know, there wasn't, I mean, again, for me to be in this place, like for you to call me the day that you called me with the price that you had for this space, like, again, I was rebuilding my life. I had not a pot to piss in terms of financial expenditures or overhead for me doing this. You know, that's why I started out of my basement whenever I got things running again. And I started getting enough people where I'm like, well, I don't want all these people knowing where I live or being in my house, you know, so I'm like, I need to figure something out. Like a week later, this guy calls, hadn't talked to him in years. How long had it been?
Years.
Yes. And then out of the blue, he calls about the one thing that he wanted to talk to me about was the one thing I was looking for. And I'm like, well, you know, probably it sounds great, gee, I'm sure it's probably
I wonder if at the time I was like, I wonder if he's still alive.
It's probably 3,000 square feet and you're asking $7,000. Like, I'm not, like, I appreciate the offer. I'm not going to be, you know, and get here, look at it, like, man, this might be doable. Like, what are you thinking price-wise? Told me the price. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Like, are you serious?
Let's all get started, man.
So
Let's
again,
all
it's
go.
like all of the things that have happened. Like, I didn't ask Gerardo to call me. I wasn't thinking about Gerardo. That's what happened.
And you know what's cool? I get to do the invoices. I get to do the invoices for our community here at McCarty Landing, and they all started within 30 days of each other. Like Heather and Keith are like, they're just 1 month ahead of you, and we've all been here since.
Yeah.
It was a blessing. It was cool.
Yeah, no, but to get back to your original question, like, first thing I always ask is if you love what you're doing, you know, and if they don't have an answer for that, I'd say I'd spend some time thinking about why you're here.
Yes.
Is this something that after a month you're going to be resentful about it because you hate it, you don't like what you do, and that's fine. I'm not saying I'd be a great real estate agent. I don't know if Gerardo would be a good trainer, but if he has no passion or inclination to do it, then don't do it. You know,
And I would be faking it, right?
right
At that point, I'd be
and
faking
again, you
it.
might fake it for a month, but when you're dealing with people, they're going to feel that out
Oh,
over
yeah.
time. Like you can lie, you know, you can fib it here and there, but eventually the wool's going to come over the eyes, and it's going to be very clear that you're here for a check. You're here for my $40 an hour. You're here for my $50 an hour. You're here for my whatever it is. So biggest thing I tell people is just if you don't love what you're doing, yes, you might have to work a job you're not super excited about while you're trying to get equity built up for this project or for this, you know, whatever it is. Because guys, again, I spent a lot of my life chasing to see, you know, I need to be in business because I need to make a bunch of money and doing this and that. Like, I was miserable doing any of that stuff, you know, but I just kept forcing the round hole in the square pit,
Yeah.
you know, in the square hole. And, you know, so first thing I tell people is just find what makes you happy that you can do every day. And it doesn't, you're not, ugh, I don't want to get up again, or I don't want to do this again. Like, you're probably doing the wrong thing, you know? Because honestly, if you told me that I'd be waking up at 4 a.m. every day, going to work and not getting done with work till 6:30, 7 o'clock at night every night, I'd call you absolutely crazy, and there's nothing in this world that I could do that I would be able to manage that and love it like I do. And here we are.
And because you do that, you are my alarm in the morning because the notification goes off on the camera.
Oh, does it?
And there's Matt, clink, turning on the lights. It's hammer time.
Well, I know the security's here.
No, if I have any, again, talking about the silent pressures and the things we hold in here, who do we talk to? One podcast I got out, some good advice I got was to schedule or go talk to someone where there's going to be no judgment. Somebody you know that's not going to judge you at all. Grandma, it might even be a stranger you haven't talked to in a long time. My mentors, that I've chosen, I want to reconnect with them now, 10 years later, after the advice I got 10 years ago from them. And that advice has put me where I'm at today, you know, and I want to meet up with them again, but it's a no judgment zone.
Yep.
And they just listen. They don't have to lie to me. They're way beyond where I'll ever reach at in life. Mm-hmm. Let's just say business-wise, because it's a different path. God gave them a different path, you know, and they did other things back in the 70s and 80s to get to where they're at. But have a conversation where there'll be no judgment. You know, and that's why me and Matt work fantastic with each other. We're just dudes, man.
Check your egos at the door. So I have my foxhole group of 4 or 5 people that I could go to at any hour, any time of the day. No judgment, because they know the best in me. They know the worst in me. I know the best in them. I know the worst in them, and we don't care. You know, a lot of the times we were in cahoots whenever we were doing good and bad things at the same time. But that was who we were. That's not who we are, so we don't linger on it. We don't dwell on it. That's who we were. We make sure we keep an eye on each other, make sure we don't resort back to those old ways. And it's easy to do. 3 steps forward, 1 step to the left. Over time, you're going to be facing the wrong direction. So it's easy to do, and it's, man, how did we get here? It's been 10 years, and how am I already, you know, feel like we've taken 10 steps back, you know, and it creeps up on you. So again, having those people that are around you, whether they be smarter than you or your mentors or just people you trust that you can talk to, you need to have people that aren't afraid to tell you the truth. You know, even if it's the truth you don't want to hear, you don't need to hear, maybe it is, and you just don't know it yet, you know? So if you're taking offense to everything that people are giving you advice on and stuff like that, and these are very close people that you trust, if enough of them are saying the same thing, it might be you needing to look in the mirror and taking a long, hard look at that internal reflection. Maybe you're in the wrong. Maybe you thought you were right, but maybe after taking your ego out of the equation, you know what? Pros, cons, maybe they were right, you know? So again, it's all stuff that can be as subtle as you want it to be, or it can be all, you know, the sky parts, clouds come down, it's 2:59 rolling on 3 o'clock, and it's dark on Good Friday, you know? Or we can look at this as a celebration that, guess what happened on Sunday? He rose, you know? So, not to get too religious with it.
Yeah, no, but we keep bringing this up because now's the time more than ever that we need to love each other and be there for each other, because you see what's going on in the simulation we're in, and that can be very distracting. We have no idea what's going on or ever will know, but at least we know this.
Yeah.
At least we know our loved ones.
I can touch this person in my community. I can reach out to that person that's, I'm holding the door for at the gas station that I didn't need to, but you know what? I'm not in that big of a hurry. I can hold this door open for this hard-working construction worker, this old lady that's hunched over that's having trouble probably getting that door open. It does not take a lot to make a good act of kindness, because a lot of times the universe will repay you. So,
No, I feel really good about this one, and hopefully you guys have made it to this part.
yeah, guys,
And-
if you're out there and you're suffering and you're struggling, you're not alone.
You're not.
We
you're
all
never
struggle.
alone.
We all suffer. I'm no different than Gerardo. Gerardo's no different than me. We have our moments of weakness, But that's when you lean on those people that will lift you up in those down moments for you. So just keep your friends close, keep your family close. And again, do not hesitate to ask God for help. I would not emphasize this as much as I did if it didn't change my life forever. So if you're desperate enough, or you're thinking about doing and making a decision that could change not just your life, but your family's life, your kids' life, your wife, have a conversation with God, and don't ask Him for anything, but just talk to Him. You can get a lot of shit off your chest if you just have an open conversation and don't ask Him for anything in return.
Yeah, that's the big
Because He will
one.
provide, and it says in Scripture, we're not supposed to question, we're not supposed to ask for a sign. And that's all I ever did before I got sober was, if you really want me to do, just show me something. Nothing ever came. But now that I'm doing what I'm doing now, that's all I do is I ask Him for help. I don't ask Him for anything in return, and here we are.
And you're not alone. There's 8 billion of us.
Yeah.
But start local. Start here. Start in your community.
Yeah.
Start there. But I think we're good.
Yeah. Love you guys.
Love you guys.
Have
Thank
a
you
great
for
week.
watching the Not So Perfect podcast. Have
Until
a great
next
week.
time. Peace.
Adios.